What's happening, guys? Welcome to the James Hogan podcast. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I have my man Sam Weiner on here. So, Sam is somebody I've connected with like 7 years ago when I first got in the business. Might have been 6 years ago, but always pushing me on LinkedIn to just get in touch with him, things like that. He's now a partner at Brooklyn Title. So, Sam, tell him what you do and let's chop it up about real estate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think you hit it best. We connected probably 6 years ago, both starting our careers and been in touch ever since. So,
Yes,
um,
sir.
yeah, let
Very
me.
persistent. I got to give it to you. You're very persistent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
This is our first real, like, actual conversation we're having right now, I think. I mean, we probably chatted on the phone a couple times, but this is going to be kind of our getting to know each other, which I'm looking forward to.
yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So I'll get it going a little bit to educate everybody. So I'm in the title insurance field. Title
Okay.
insurance is a necessary part of the real estate transaction. In simplest terms, where we transfer the deed from seller to buyer and making sure that there's no issues across the way. The the legal definition is it's a way to protect yourself from financial loss and related legal expenses in the event there is a defect in title to your property that is covered by the policy. Now, let me explain that in simpler terms.
Great.
As I said before, we protect buyers from past events. So we make sure that all issues are resolved by the completion of closing. And title insurance, you only have to purchase it once as a one-time premium, which I'll get to, which is based off of purchase price and loan amount.
Right.
And your policy is valid for the entire ownership of the property. So if you close and you hold this property for another 100 years, that one time you paid, your policy is still valid for that time. Um, I'll get into a little bit more about title insurance, but just to give a little rundown, because you mentioned my firm.
Love it. Yeah. No, I wanted a clip for that. That's perfect. Right out of the gate.
Cool. So that's a little bit about title insurance. To give a little bit of who my firm is. So I'm a partner, as said, at Brooklyn Land Title. We're a New York City-based title insurance company. We
Great.
handle both residential and commercial real estate transactions, both purchases and refinances. We're currently licensed in New York and New Jersey, but we have a lot of national firms that we co-insure with, which in your terms is more co-broking with. So
Right.
we have a national platform where we're able to handle any deal, any size, anywhere across the country. We are currently working with all the major underwriters, getting licensed up with them, currently with Fidelity, but in the near future, we'll have all the major underwriters. My partner, his name is Chris Young. He's an experienced attorney in both the real estate transactional world and the title world. So he's in charge of reviewing all our title searches, documentation, making sure everything goes smooth in the back end. And I'm mostly in charge of our sales, business development, client management, and everything to the front end. So we complement each other tremendously, and we're pretty new, and we're excited to grow the firm. So
That's amazing. And I think hopping on podcasts and social media and stuff and being forward facing on LinkedIn, which you are very much so, is a great way to do that. So you've built a big following on LinkedIn, as I understand, right?
yeah, 15,000 connections plus.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I haven't had much traction on LinkedIn where I've had a lot on Instagram. I think it's because, the listings and things like that. So, and as I transition to the investing side of things, raising capital side of things, things like that, there's so much opportunity on LinkedIn. Like I just left a meeting with a builder and he was showing me all these people, not their Instagram handle, not their LinkedIn. I just left the meeting. So tell us
So
about LinkedIn and you and your relationship with that.
So it's great you asked because LinkedIn is the specific reason that I was able to see early success in this industry.
Right.
So to put it back, it was early years into my career and COVID hit. And most people, pretty much everyone in the world, when COVID hit, they're like, what do I do now? And they kind of just sat back, were isolated and just were in their houses doing whatever they were doing. So I went on LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, they have different methods. So each day, I put a method in place where, let's say Monday was real estate agents, Tuesday was attorneys, Wednesday was mortgage loan officers. And I would send 100 a day connections with a personalized message saying, hi, James, nice to connect. Would love to see how we could be most beneficial and help each other. Let me know when you're best
Absolutely.
available for a call. And
Yeah.
since it was COVID, everybody wanted to be on a call because there was nothing else to do. And I was able to build a lot of connections because let's say they don't even answer your message, they're still mostly accepting your connection. So that's how I built up my follower base. And then
Yeah.
during the time, I was still connecting with them, and it was just a great platform to build my, as you said, my presence, I guess, in the space, and also build these relationships. And I saw a lot of early success where I was able to get actual deal flow from it. So
That's incredible. And that's literally how we met. And that just goes to show, the importance of the marathon of social media, because it's such good advertising and it's not always right there. I mean, you had some immediate right there success with it, but look at us on a podcast now. And now that we know each other, I'm sure we're going to do business going forward. And
yep.
I want to parlay that into my next question, because nobody talks about title. And it's literally 1% of every fucking deal. Pardon my French. It's realtors get all the glamour, the glitz, the glory. Everyone talks about them. Ryan Serhant, these big properties, they're getting 2%, maybe 3% on each deal. Title is 1% of every single deal. So why
So
does nobody talk about it?
I'll get to that in a second, but to
Sure.
just correct you, because I want people to know, I wish it was 1%. It comes out to about half a point.
Half
So
a point. Okay.
uh,
So yeah. Okay.
it's a little less than that. So maybe that's why the glamour is not as much there. Because,
It's still, I mean, the
but
numbers have got to be, I mean,
also,
the numbers are insane, I bet.
yeah, so title insurance, even though it's a little less, as you said, than these commissions of these brokers and agents, but we're on every single purchase and refinance. So you can't
Wow.
really close without title. So there's definitely
Yeah,
more
you can't.
volume that in the title industry than specific agents can actually get themselves.
Right.
Um,
And
Now,
then, so
why
are
is
you
it?
guys going directly to attorneys? Is that like
So
a big,
that's what I was going to kind of get to. So the
yeah,
reason that title isn't as big as a name or I guess industry to the public as much as yours is because it's such a niche product that when you're purchasing a home, you think and you know that you need a real estate agent to represent you in whether finding your home or selling your home. You don't know what title insurance is.
right.
So especially on the residential end, majority of our deals come from real estate transactional attorneys. Now, uh, again, the end buyer is the one paying for the title, but 90% of the time they don't even know what title is. So the real estate transactional attorney is going to say to them, "Hey, you have to get title insurance to mandatory process. Are you okay with using Sam Weiner and Brooklyn Land Title?" And the buyer is going to say, "Yeah, because I don't know what that means." There is situations, as you know, where if you're representing the buyer as the agent, you could recommend us to the attorney and the buyer, and they'll use us. But that's why it's not that, because it's a very uneducated field in the transaction process. So on the commercial real estate end, it's much more known by the owners and operators because they're buying bigger buildings
They're
and
a little savvier, you know?
exactly. So they know about title insurance. So it's
Right.
more on the residential end. It's very niche, but end buyers are definitely um, paying for title insurance on all their transactions. So it's been an initiative or goal of mine to figure out different ways to just make the brand awareness more to end buyers. And it's difficult because like LinkedIn, Instagram, social media, like I could post all I want and market all I want, but like only my connections are going to be seeing that. So
Yeah.
it's really just a bigger scale, but that's kind of the general gist of why. And then another thing I guess I should throw in there, which is also adds on to that, is title insurance. Like I said, the half a point, give or take, is a fixed cost, fully regulated by the state and the American Land Title Association based off of the purchase price and loan amount. So
Right.
we can't negotiate or change our fees
Hmm.
no matter what. There are some ancillary fees that come into the closing process that we could, take off or add, but the actual premium for title is a fixed price. So title is a very relationship driven business,
Definitely.
meaning that since prices are fixed, obviously the most important thing is then service. Now, obviously, I believe we provide exceptional service, but to be frankly honest, like a lot of title firms provide similar service, because the work being done, unless it's a really hairy property, is pretty similar. So it's a very
What does it
relation.
look like, the work exactly? You're just going to the town and seeing if there are any liens against the property. Is that it? Like, is that what it is?
Definitely not it, but that's a general gist of it.
And
As
are you going to the town yourself or?
so my partner Chris is in charge of all our
Got it. So he does the operations and you do the sales. That makes sense to me.
correct. I mean, I definitely know what goes on because, it's my firm now and I've been in the industry for a while, but he's taking care of all that. And the answer to your question, he does not go to the actual county himself. There's certain recording and search processes that do it for us. So
Right.
he
Yeah.
doesn't need
Like
to run
I like
around.
the property I'm sitting in, I was deeded onto it.
Right.
And I remember being at the clerk and everyone's so confused and you go this way and that way. And between that confusion and just the overall lack of sexiness to people, it's just like nobody knows what title is, So that's
Exactly.
why, so but to me, as a real estate nerd, especially hopping into the investment space, like I'm obsessed with it. So it's
Yeah.
like now stuff like title starts to interest me, like what are the ancillary costs, like all that stuff to me, where it would be for your commercial investors, I'm sure as well. Like they know exactly who they're using. They want to make sure they're getting good service and things like that. So I can totally see that.
Yeah, totally. So
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, let's talk about the sales process, I guess, because I noticed I have something written down here that you time block to prospect and you did that every day. So you do realtors one day, attorneys the next day, whomever the next day. How much of your success can you point to direct prospecting? Because as a team leader and someone who is training new salespeople, and I mean, our team got 2 accepted offers today. So one
yeah.
is mine, one is a team member, which is great. But
Mhm.
it's all from prospecting, in my opinion. So how much of your success do you give to prospecting?
Do you consider networking the same as prospecting or
Talk
different?
about networking because that's an area where I lack and I'd love to get, better at it.
Because so prospecting is got to be like 90% plus for me,
Love it. Yeah. But you're
that's
not
how it,
cold calling anymore. You're more so in
the,
BNI groups, going to networking events,
so
DMing, I guess that would be called
So
more.
the original was more of the cold outreach, like us, whether through LinkedIn, emails, calls, and just introducing myself and the building a relationship. Now it's utilizing those relationships I built, asking for introductions, referrals, and leads from them, being a value add to them. So saying to you, hey, James, do you have any real estate attorneys that you work closely with that you could introduce me? You let me know who you're looking to be introduced to, and I'll make the introductions back. So my original prospecting is less towards the cold outreach, now towards warm outreach. And then I do a lot now of networking events. Like you said, there's certain groups such as like BNI and such like that I'm not in a BNI now, but like I'm in a bunch of different groups, whether it's
Right.
real estate organizations, Jewish organizations, but I'm on the real estate divisions of those, as well as just New York, whether in Manhattan or Long Island, real estate events that different parties host. So I'm definitely very out there meeting people in person now and then, following up with them and trying to build a relationship there. So,
Yeah. No, I love that. And my brother's in the insurance industry and he does a lot of the same. Like I'm very old school, time block, 2 hours for sale by owners, expireds, handwritten letters, meeting with builders, things like that. I'm very old school with it, but I love the idea of networking, being a part of groups. You're a part of the Jewish thing. That's great. That's something you believe in, that you're a part of an organization. It's like being a part of like a business thing, or I mean that's a religion, but it's what I'm saying. It's being part of
yeah,
an organization
it's
is a
these
big thing.
these Jewish based, like to say what you're saying, it's Jewish based organizations, but I'm in the real estate executives division. So it's like we all have that commonality, and then it just gives us a better opportunity being in this division to want to do work together as well as talk about religion type events. Like, I mean, I don't know right now if you know what's going on with Israel. So it's like that plays into, giving back to them and then hopefully giving
Right.
back to each other's businesses as well. So it all intertwines with each other, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't think of one that would really touch somebody's heart like that one would, So that's pretty good. So let me ask you another question. So title is extremely regulated. You
Yes.
guys can't advertise, you can't buy Mets tickets, you can't do anything, and it's a set price, on commissions and stuff. Why is that?
That's okay. So Section 208 is the is the actual reason. It used to be where it was a little before my time, so I don't know the actual specifics about it, but the title industry, since our everything is regulated, like you said, it used to be the biggest players were just spending the most amount of money with whether it's tickets, boxes, events, this and that, and it inclines clients to use them. And the I guess you could say even the government or the American Land Title Association, I don't know who's actually in charge. They passed this rule called 208. I don't know if it's Section 208, Rule 208. You can Google it, Title Insurance 208, where they regulated our industry on giving, I guess the right word of saying is expenses towards our clientele, meaning that they want us to, one, do it for the right, you guys to use us for the right reasons, which is service and relationships. And so there's a lot of rules and regulations.
How good
But
of a job are they doing at that?
listen, I mean, stuff still happens, but they did stop the big stuff from happening now, which is good. So,
That's great.
yeah, it all was for, I believe it was for the right reasons, because like I think there's certain situations where, let's say you and I close a deal and I want to go out for a closing dinner and I take care of you. There might be some rules that stop us from me doing that there, but that's probably a little too much. But they're trying to stop like the really extravagant things. So
Right.
and obviously the illegal kickbacks.
Right.
So
Of
but
course.
but to put it together, what that actually did more was make me and the other title agents have to provide value to our clients in a better way, meaning that, now I'm inclined to give you the proper referrals, introductions, leads, off-market deals, any way that I could drive business your way so that you are inclined and feel that I want to be your, preferred title vendor in return. So,
Right.
uh, I made myself I've tried to present myself in the industry as obviously an industry expert, but more as a real estate connector where anybody can come to me and really just let me know what they need or if they're trying to be introduced to anybody. And I have such a strong database, I believe, of real estate professionals in all different asset classes and sectors where I could most likely guide you in the right direction to help you out.
Right. Okay. And that makes sense to me. Now, Sam, this has been really informative. I mean, there's not really much you could talk about with title.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, listen, there's like the back end. I always go in these things and everybody wants to know like what really is title insurance? What goes into a title commitment? What do we actually insure? Like we actually ensure that the title is vested in the named insurer. Title is free of liens and encumbrances. You have full access and use of the property. But like these are all legal terms and everything. It really comes down to the attorneys and the back end. For the public's knowledge, it's really that we just make sure that the transfer is free and clear, that there's no issues, and that when you purchase, you know what I like to say to people? When you purchase your home, what happens if somebody knocks on your door and says, "This is my home, get out"? What would be your initial first reaction?
no, it's mine.
You would probably call the cops, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
police are going to come, and then how are they going to know the property's yours? We give you the proper documentation, deeds, and recording to prove that the property is yours.
Got
So
it. Yeah.
that's the simplest way of knowing what title insurance is. And it's very important, because if title insurance wasn't a thing, anybody could technically say that any property is theirs. So,
Right. Now, question. I
sure.
was deeded onto my property. We didn't do title.
Yeah, because it came from like a past owner that you just need a lien search. You don't need to actually reorder title insurance if it's somebody that transferred the deed to you, I should say. It's transfer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when would a title insurance actually be? Would it be, I guess, like a purchase transaction or
Any new purchase, refinance, or loan.
any new purchase, refinance, or loan? Okay. I was confused about that. Okay. And then last thing. So let's talk about the real estate investing side of things.
Sure.
So I know that a lot of title people have like long lists of like off market properties and stuff. Like, why is that?
So, like I said, it's like, you got to figure out ways to differentiate yourself. And like myself, I try to help my clients out where, if they have a certain like guys will come to me and say, listen, I have a seller that, is looking to sell, let's just say a multifamily building. Just keep it simple. He's
Right.
like, do you know multifamily investors? And the answer is, of course, I know a bunch. That's what I do for a living. So it's more that I have access to these deals just because of my database. They come to me and see if I want to make an introduction first before, I mean, not that it helps you, but before going to a broker or such. It's just a part of the networking game where people come to
Of course.
me and say,
I source off market deals. I'm
yes,
I love off market. So don't look at me
right.
like a strictly broker, you know?
Right. Yeah. So it's like for my purposes, it's just people coming to me knowing I have a lot of relationships in the space and seeing that
Right.
I can make the proper introductions, or I know a party that would be interested in this before it goes to the market.
Yeah, and you're not even making money on the deal. You're not
Um,
brokering it at all. You're just saying, "Oh, I actually happen to know this guy. You guys talk about it," you know?
I fully do it as a complimentary to my business. I'm happy to make the introductions. I'm not brokering the deal whatsoever. And
Yeah.
the end goal for me is to get the title insurance
Yeah.
on obviously this transaction, and then just you come to me for future deals as well.
Yeah. That's what they all say, Sam. No.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. So you have any so listen, I really appreciate you hopping on. You know, that was informative for me. I wanted to inform my clients, everything like that. I wanted to bring brand awareness to Brooklyn Land Title.
Yeah.
So anything cool you guys are doing, where can they find you? Things like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would say number one, like we discussed on here, obviously my email, my phone number, which you'll post through this podcast, but
Of course.
just to let people know if they're listening on the spot, my phone number is 516-698-4577. And my email is sweiner, SWEINER at brooklynlandtitle.com. You could follow me on LinkedIn. You could follow me on Instagram. I made a title account on Instagram. I don't really use it. So my personal Instagram, which is also my real estate Instagram as well. Social media, any way they want to follow me, reach out to James. He'll introduce us. And,
Absolutely.
obviously I'd love to help everybody listening with all their title insurance needs. We could handle really any deal across all platforms. But additional, like I said, I want you to reach out to me so I can make the introductions and help you grow your business and us making money together. So
I love it. And I can attest to Sam's service. I've used him before. It's great. I'm glad we connected again to revitalize the relationship and do this. And like I said, educate the people. So Sam, listen, I really appreciate it. I'm going to tag you on everything. And that's it. So James Hogan podcast signing off.
thanks.
All right.